another lesson of maintenance modeling and analysis. Today we will discuss what is maintenance by giving a practical example of a maintenance activity. There are many different types of definitions for maintenance, and I'm not going to go through each single one of them, but I would like to propose a definition that I really like. That states that maintenance is a continuous process of operational optimization. What does this mean? First, it tells you that maintenance is not something reactive, something that happens only when there's a failure, but it's a process that starts way before. Whenever we think about the strategies that we can put into place and whenever we plan the next maintenance activities and tasks that will happen. It's also a process of operational optimization. Why? Well, basically it's because you're always trying to balance two things, the costs and the benefits. Whenever you do a maintenance task, whenever you plan a maintenance activity, there are costs that are incurred, but there's also benefits because you, for instance, you may be improving the performance, the efficiency of the component, which has effects, for instance, on the sustainability and so on. So all of this must be very well balanced. Today I would like to talk about a maintenance activity that is very important and that will hopefully give you an overview of what is it that we do in the maintenance activity itself. The activity that we'll talk about is the overhaul, perhaps the most expensive and the most overwhelming activity that happens in aircraft maintenance. The engine is a very costly and very important part of the aircraft, from time to time it needs to be checked truly. And that truly check we call the overhaul. It's such an amazing operation that the entire engine is dismantled, all of the parts are inspected and repaired if there's a reason for that, and then they are put back together and submitted to a series of very complex tests and evaluations. So my question for you is, how long do you think it takes to do an overhaul on average, and for an average aircraft engine? Well, it takes about 5 years or 3,000 flight cycles. So whenever one of these limits is reached, then you perform an overhaul. It can also happen that an overhaul is performed if the maintenance engineers, find something in the monitors that tells you that something is not going correctly. And then they can request an overhaul sooner. The first step of an overhaul is to define the work scope. And in that case, you need to define the human resources that it needs to be in place, the logistics, the parts that are required, and the facilities. So all of this has to be planned ahead of time. You need to find a schedule that makes sense, and this has to be done on a very efficient manner. What do you think happens first, the disassembly or the cleaning? If I'm asking that question, it's because it's not an obvious answer, of course. And usually the major cleanup is even before you dismantle the engine. And after you clean the engine in a process that we call baths, so the engine goes through a different set of baths with different liquids to remove the dirt and remove the dust. Then you can follow up with a visual inspection inside the engine to check for something that is not totally correct. After cleaning and inspecting, you can disassemble the engine. And another question for you is, how many parts do you think an engine has? It has around 40,000 parts. So a lot of systems, subsystems, units and small equipment is conveyed in this big chunk of engineering. After you dismantle the engine, it's time for repair and eventually replace. So some parts are repaired. From the parts that are inspected and identified as not okay, you can either replace them or you can repair them. Some parts are what we call the life-limited parts, the LLP. And these parts, when they reach a certain limit of time, they need to be scrapped. They need to be taken away and replaced by a new one. Okay? Even if there's no signs of actual very complex deterioration. Where are the parts repaired? Some parts are repaired at specialized shops, other than the airline shop, and other parts can be repaired in-house in the airline facilities. As I have said, the engine is very complex. It's a very complex machine, has many subparts, and some of these parts are cheap, some are expensive, and some are very, very expensive. One of the most expensive parts is, for instance, the forward outer seal of the engine. This piece of equipment alone costs how much, can you guess? Well, it costs around 5 Ferraris, so 1.4 million euros. So after all these parts that are costly, complex, and very efficient, when we get them back together, we need afterwards to test if everything is running smoothly. And for that, we have at the airlines test cells that they use to make sure that the engine can operate perfectly. When everything is finalized and everything is okay, the airline can receive a certificate of airworthiness, which means that the engine can operate for 5 years or so. So this completes our example for today. I hope you have liked it, and see you next lesson.